Hello friends, in this lecture we will cover the next type of sensor, that is temperature sensors. Now the learning outcomes, after studying this topic, students will be able to understand or students will be able to explain the first effect of heating and cooling, then the first temperature sensor, that is resistance type temperature detector or RTD, then second thermocouple, and third thermistor. Now, before going to directly the temperature sensors, that is RTD, thermocouple and thermistor, the effect of heating and cooling is very important. Now, when the body is heated or cooled, then various effects of heating or cooling can be observed, and these effects includes first, if the body is heated or cooled, then there will be change in the physical or chemical state. Then second, there will be change in the physical dimensions. Then third, there will be change in the electrical properties. And fourth, there will be change in the intensity of the total radiation emitted. The existing temperature detectors use any one of the above four types, but we will concentrate on third point, that is when the body is heated or cooled, then how electrical properties will change. Now let's start with the first type of temperature sensor, that is resistance type temperature sensor or RTD. Now it has been observed that the resistance of metal increases with the increase in temperature. Therefore, the metals are said to have a positive temperature coefficient of resistivity. Means what is meant by positive temperature coefficient or PTC? If the temperature to the metal increases, then its resistance will increase. Means if temperature will increase, then the resistance will increase. Means temperature and resistance are directly proportional to each other. Then that indicates the positive temperature coefficient of resistivity. But however, for some semiconductor materials, means some semiconductor materials have negative temperature coefficient of resistivity. That means their resistance will decrease with increase in the temperature. Means the resistance and temperature are inversely proportional to each other. Means metals have positive temperature coefficients while some semiconductor materials have negative temperature coefficient. Thus, it is possible to convert the temperature variation into equivalent changes in resistance. It will be either PTC or NTC, depends on PTC or NTC. If suppose you are using metals, then the resistance will increase if the temperature will increase, and if suppose you are using some semiconductor materials, then the resistance will decrease with increase in temperature, that is negative temperature coefficient. Now this is the principal operation of resistance type temperature sensors, and these transducers are also called as an resistance temperature detector or RTD. Now the construction of RTD, as shown in figure, the resistance temperature detector is composed of the resistance element, then internal conductors, then insulated tube reinforcing tube or the sheath. Means the resistance thermometer, then next the connections to the lid, then the sheath or insulator. Then the RTD resistance measurement. Now how to measurement the resistance of RTD? As we know, for the construction of your RTD, metals are used. So, metals having positive temperature coefficient. Now, what is positive temperature coefficient? Means if suppose temperature will increase, positive temperature resistivity means if suppose temperature will increase, then the resistance will increase. Now, you can calculate the resistance measurement of RTD by using Wheatstone bridge. Now, in the construction of your Wheatstone bridge, the external power source is connected Then next it consists of total 3 resistances, that is R1, R2, R3, and fourth resistance is nothing but what? Resistance of RTD. Then the values of R1, R2, R3 are having same values, but the values of resistance temperature detector or RTD will change. Now your Wheatstone bridge will work in total two conditions. First one is balanced condition and second one is unbalanced condition. Now what is balanced condition? If suppose R1 upon R2 equals to R3 upon the resistance of RTD, then your Wheatstone bridge will be is in balanced condition. And when the Wheatstone bridge is in balanced condition, then the output voltage will be equals to 0. And how to calculate this output voltage? You can connect the galvanometer in between point A and point B. By using galvanometer, you can calculate the how much output voltage you are getting. Now in balance condition, as all the resistances are equal, that is R1 upon R2 which is equals to R3 upon the resistance of RTD, that indicates the balance condition, and for balance condition your output voltage equals to 0. Now suppose take one example. If suppose by using solder gun you are going to hit the RTD. Now when you hit the RTD, then the resistance of RTD will change, means R1 upon R2 which is not equals to the R3 upon the resistance of RTD. Why? Because when you hit RTD by using your solder gun, then the resistance of the RTD will change according to positive temperature coefficient. As temperature will increase, then the resistance of RTD will increase, and when the resistance of RTD will increase, then your Wheatstone bridge will be in unbalanced condition. Now when the Wheatstone bridge is in unbalanced condition, then you will get some voltage when you measure same voltage on galvanometer. Now you can apply same voltage for the amplification purpose to the op-amp. Now this is how to measure the resistance by using Wheatstone bridge. Now first one is your balanced condition and second one is your unbalanced condition. Now the advantages of RTD. First, they can be used for the measurement of small as well as large temperature difference. Then next, high accuracy. Then high reproducibility. Then good dynamic response. Then next, wide temperature range, that is from minus 2000 degrees Celsius to the 6500 degrees Celsius. Which are the different disadvantages of RTD? First, the large size. Second, sophisticated instrumentation is necessary for protection of resistance wire. Then third, external DC power source is required. And fourth, high cost. Now second temperature sensor, that is thermocouple. The operation of thermocouple is based on phenomenon called as Seebeck effect. Now what is Seebeck effect? It states that a current flows in a closed circuit made up of two dissimilar metals if the junction of the two metals are kept at different temperatures. Just connect two dissimilar metals with each other, and when you connect two dissimilar metals with each other, and if you kept the two junctions are at different temperature, then the current will flow through that closed circuit, and due to this current flow an EMF will produce, and this EMF which is proportional to the temperature difference which is produced. Now this figure indicates the T1 is the hot junction and T2 is the cold junction. So the total EMF which is produced, which is directly proportional to the temperature difference, that is T1 minus T2, means hot junction minus cold junction, and in proportional EMF will. Now the thermocouple is one of the simplest and most commonly used methods of measuring the process temperature. A thermocouple consists of a pair of dissimilar metal wires joined together at one end forming a hot junction and terminated at the other end known as the reference junction or the cold junction. Now which are the different materials which you can use in thermocouple? First, copper constant ton, then second iron constant ton, then third platinum rhodium alloy, and fourth chromel and aluminum alloy. And the graph indicates the temperature versus the thermoelectric EMF which is produced for these different materials. Now, which are the different advantages of thermocouples? First, wide temperature range, that is from minus 2000 degrees Celsius to 11,000 degrees Celsius. Then second, external DC source is not required. Then third, good sensitivity, that is small changes in temperature can be sensed. Then fourth, fast dynamic response, that is it responds quickly to any temperature changes. And fifth, less expensive and small in size. Which are the different limitations of thermocouple? First, the temperature characteristics of thermocouple is slightly non-linear. That's why to convert that non-linear characteristics into linear characteristics, you will require the linearizer block in the basic instrumentation system as a signal conditioner. So that is the first limitation of the thermocouple. Then second, thermally generated EMF is small, that's why the amplification is required. So if you are going to use thermocouple in any application, then output of your thermocouple should be applied to the amplifier for the amplification purpose. Then third limitation, cold junction compensation needs to be done for the accurate measurement of temperature. Then third temperature sensor, that is thermistor. Now thermistors form by two words, thermal plus resistor. Now thermistors are also the temperature dependent resistors or RTD. Now they are made up of the semiconductor materials which have a negative temperature coefficient of resistivity. Now negative temperature coefficient of resistivity means what? If the temperature will increase, then the resistance of thermistor will decrease. Means the temperature and resistors are resistance are inversely proportional to each other, and this is nothing but what? The negative temperature coefficient of resistivity. Now the variation of resistance with changes in temperature is non-linear, and thermistors can be used to measure the temperatures in the range between 1000 degrees Celsius to 3000 degrees Celsius. Now this graph indicates the temperature versus the resistance, and this graph shows the negative temperature coefficients. As the temperature is going on increasing, the resistance goes on decreasing. That indicates the working of thermistor is totally depends on negative temperature coefficient of resistivity. Now the resistance of thermistor, it can be expressed by using the equation, that is RD, which is equals to Rho exponential beta of 1 upon T minus 1 upon T0, where RD is the resistance at T degree Kelvin, R0 is the resistance at T0 degree Kelvin, and beta is the characteristics temperature. Means by using this equation, you can calculate the resistance of thermistor. Then which are the different materials are used for the construction of thermistor? First, thermistors are constructed by using the materials such as the mixture of the sulfides, selenides oxides of manganese, nickel, cobalt, iron, copper, etc. Means all these semiconductor materials are used while manufacturing for the construction of thermistors, and these all the semiconductor materials have the negative temperature coefficient. Which are the different advantages of thermistor? First, small size and low cost. Then second, comparatively large change in resistance for a given change in temperature. Then fast response over a narrow temperature range. Which are the different disadvantages of thermistor? First, temperature versus resistance characteristics is non-linear. Again, for thermistor, again we will require the linearizer block to convert the non-linear characteristics into linear characteristics. Then second disadvantage, It requires the external DC power supply for its operation. And third, it is not suitable for the wide range of operation because the range is limited, which is in between 1000 degrees Celsius to 3000 degrees Celsius. Which are the different applications of thermistor? First, it can be used as a temperature sensor with or without compensation. Then second, in biomedical instrumentation, means your thermometers are made up of thermistors. Then third, in measuring the temperature distribution or the temperature gradients.